All right, well, we are joining Chris Horner here on the couch. Chris, looks like you came back from the team ride a little bit ago and just been kind of reclining, taking some press interviews. A lot of questions for you. I really don't know where to start. Obviously, a very turbulent 2009 season. I want to ask you how your body's feeling, but I think really where I want to start is your involvement with RadioShack. You were on the Astana team, seemed very happy there. It wasn't a sure thing that you were coming to this team. You were talking to other teams, and at one point you even gave me a call and said, hey, make sure not to report that I'm with the Brunel Armstrong team.
Right.
The contract's not signed, and so maybe you could just kind of walk us through the sequence of events that saw you become a member of this team.
Well, I think the sequence of events started when I signed with Astana 2 years ago, just working with Johan. And the moment I was on the team and Johan sees my work ethic, I see the way that he runs the team and know that I'm happy working for him, and he likes the things I bring to the team too. So certainly staying with the team was the first option and was a good way for me to go. I didn't have to change teams again, but of course I've changed teams a lot in my career too, so I can deal with change. I'm comfortable with that, but certainly staying with Lance and with Johan is something that I was really comfortable with, and riding with Lance for the first time in my career last year was just a fun experience. I mean, he brings a lot of excitement around the team and a lot more energy, and you always want to make sure you're on your best form when you got Lance around, and you know you're going to be riding for him because you don't want to let Lance down. And the same goes for Johan too. Is you have a great director back there that you want to impress every time that he's at the races. So for me, staying here was definitely the first option. Talking with other teams is just to find out your value and what you're worth and stuff like that, so that you're not getting lowballed or something. Would I have gone to another team, they would have had to have changed the pay quite a bit more to go to another team, and staying here was the best option for me, and certainly one I was comfortable with.
It's no secret you were disappointed to not be selected for the Tour de France this year, as we're
devastated. Devastated, yeah, absolutely.
And it's also no secret that it was a political decision Johan had to make with the Kazakh sponsors to put a Kazakh rider on that team. Nevertheless, Johan was running the team. When you negotiated your involvement with RadioShack for 2010, is it a guarantee that if you're healthy, you will go to the Tour de France next year?
Well, I don't think there's any guarantees in life. I certainly made it clear that the Tour de France is what I want to do. I don't think there's a director out there, at least not one a team that I've been on, where they can guarantee you're doing it. But you can only be guaranteed your spot in terms of the quality of the riders on where your pecking order is on the team. There's with Alberto gone, there's less politics still in the team. We had multiple different ways that you can look at the politics that are dealt on the team from last year. You have the Kazakhs there, that you have to take a Kazakh rider. You have Johan's view of the riders that he thinks should be on the team. You have Alberto's view of the riders that he thinks should be on the team. You have Lance's views of the rider that he thinks should be on the team. And even on top of that, you have Clodin's too. You have multiple different, so you have angles coming from all different ways. But for this year, there's only really going to be two views that matter on who goes to the Tour, and that's going to be, this is Lance's team. So it's going to be guys that Lance want to have around him, that he believes in and has faith in and can rely on. I certainly believe I've met that criteria. And you have Johan's decision of who's going to be on the team, and I think I've met that criteria. So when it comes to going to the Tour, I think it's guaranteed. So if my form is bad and not where it has been in recent times, then I'd have no problem stepping down. I'm not a rider that you need to say, this rider's better than you. I know if one rider is better than me or not. And certainly from the team that we had last year, I believe I was 5th or 6th best rider on the team. So I don't think I was fighting for a spot that was 9th or 10th spot on the team that's going to the Tour. I think I should have been 5th. Worst case scenario, 6th or something. But I think I was 5th on the team. And when you throw in the politics, then it just adds another thing, another way of looking at things. But in my view, I would say I'm guaranteed for the Tour. But Johan's not ever going to tell you there's guaranteed riders going to the tour, and I understand why he does that. You wouldn't want to come out as a director and say, yeah, these 9 guys are guaranteed, because you got 2 or 3 other guys that might just be on the fence, and if they can get a little motivation, who knows where their level of form can come if they can get a little more motivation and fight, and then you got an even stronger team if you can keep everybody motivated in the right frame of mind. Some riders need that little motivation and knowing they might not make the tour team. For me, I don't need any motivation to be good for July, but maybe some other riders do.
Yeah, well, that was just one of several disappointments in the 2009 season. Obviously, 4 major injuries or crashes that led to injuries this year. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But since we are here at camp, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about the feeling at this camp. I mean, it's a new team, but it's sort of taken a big piece from the Astana team. Does it feel like Astana? Does it feel like a new team? How does it compare to other camps you've been to?
It doesn't feel, for me, I feel completely comfortable. It feels like last year's team, just less complicated. And so, yeah, for me, I feel completely at home and I'm comfortable here. I mean, I got Galopin, who I worked 3 years with Frances de Jure with. I've been friends with him ever since the day I left Frances de Jure still. Director now for 2 years with Astana, and he's come over here. So my main director is Galopin, so I'm comfortable there. Eki, fantastic director. Just comes off of racing his bike just a few years before, so we known each other since racing, and now we're super comfortable working with each other. Both have I have an enormous amount of respect for the guy as a director and as a rider. So I'm completely at home here. It doesn't look like any of the riders though are too nervous or uncomfortable with the camp. It looks like everybody's pretty happy with each other. Looks like we got a good bunch of guys.
Yeah. Okay, 2009. We just ran a big article. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Tour California, Tour the Basque Country, the Giro d'Italia, Vuelta a España. I think the Vuelta was probably the most painful crash, but I would imagine that it was also the most devastating in terms of finally having a shot at being a team leader at a Grand Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. The most devastating, I'd say, was the Vuelta, and not only because it was a race where I had the freedom of being the leader on the team, but also that was the last big stage race. And so, okay, when I crash at California, no big deal. You're going to miss Paris-Nice. Great race. Would love to win it. But there's another big race right after that. Focus on the Giro. I think I could have ran top 5, top 10 for sure there, no problem. But I'm pretty certain I could run top 5. And so I crashed out of that. So big opportunity missed. But you're still thinking, oh, you're sitting on the couch watching the Giro. But, in the back of your mind, you got the Tour coming. So Tour comes and goes, and then you're, okay, focus on the Vuelta, no problem. I was a little devastated after the selection of the Tour, but that passed, and it was, okay, we got the Vuelta coming, let's focus on that. The Vuelta comes, the form's great, and crash out of that. So you're sitting at home, and I was in San Diego, I flew back to San Diego and was with my girlfriend sitting at home, and there's no other race, no other stage races anyways, so to focus on, so it makes it a bit harder to get through watching the Vuelta on TV. If I was going to train, I had to train before I watched the Vuelta, or I was going to the ice cream shop afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that you're in the golden years of your career at this point.
No way. I got many, many years left.
You're going to be like Eric Wolberg, just go right into your 40s like Scott Moninger.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's say you've got 5 years left in your carear.
All right, I'll go with that.
All right. What's left to achieve? At least in 2010.
So much left to achieve. There's never an end goal. I mean, look at Lance. He won 7 Tour de France's. When he finished his first win, he didn't think, oh, that's it. I might as well call it a career. There's always another goal. You can win multiple string of races and just winning back-to-back. It becomes so much more epic when you start winning back-to-back races even, because it's so hard to do. When Lance shows up at the Tour de France, no one lets him just go up the road in an easy break and gain 30 minutes on the group. He's never going to win the Tour like Pereira did or something like that.
At the top of your wish list, Chris Horner's 2010 objective wish list.
That's simple. I just like to win some races. First off, I'd like to go to the Tour and make sure that the team wins the Tour de France. It doesn't bother me who I'm working for or who wins it. Lance wins it, Levi, Claude, and whoever it is. Someone else on the team wins it. I don't care. I just like to see the team go and win the Tour de France, and would love to be part of that experience. was there with Lotto when Cadell went second, and we went fourth the time before that. It's a good experience to be working for someone that's riding strong in the Tour. So that would be exciting. And then also just winning one of the big races over in Europe. And so any race I do over in Europe is one of the big ones. I normally don't do the smaller races in Europe. Last year I did Tour de l'Ain, I think was the smallest race I did. And I was doing that for training, but normally I do just the big races over there. So if I can win something at Paris-Nice or Pays Vasco or Amstel-Flesch, Liège,
That's what I was gonna ask.
any of those races, I'd take a win at any of those races would be spectacular, and certainly at the Tour de France would be great too. But basically, if I win something over in Europe, it's normally a big race.
Have you had a chance to talk about your 2010 schedule and races, that suit you well, Amstel, Flesch, and Liège?
Yep.
Will you be able to ride for your own result at those races?
I would imagine at those races I would. Just not speaking with the directors yet, but just common sense of knowing the strengths of the team. I always say when we get to those races, I have the freedom of riding the race 100% for myself, like I did with Astana last year at Lombardia or something like that. So I would imagine I have complete freedom there, and then you'd be working for Levi Lance at California, and then certainly one of the big guys at the Tour. But I think there would be a lot of freedom on this team to go for the win yourself.
Well, we all look forward to seeing that. We've seen you take some big wins in Switzerland since you've returned to Europe about 4 or 5 seasons ago. But I think a lot of people out there would really kind of looking to see you just take that slam dunk victory, a podium at Worlds, or a win at one of the classics.
Yeah, same here. It just gets really hard when you're on a team like Astana, where I show up at Pays Vasco and you're working for Alberto. And of course, he's the best guy on the team. He's one of the best guys in the world. So of course, it's clear what your job's going to be. You show up at the Giro and you got Levi there on good form, so you're going to be working for Levi. So it's really difficult as a rider that just because you show up at one race and none of your favorites are there, that they're like, okay, now you're the leader. Well, thanks, I'm the leader, but I was training 100% for the other race where I helped Alberto win, and now I've been a little bit on vacation, and you're showing up, at 95% form instead of 100% form, and they throw you the keys. You're like, thanks, I got the keys, but there's no gas in the car. So it's a little bit different versus if you were on a team like, take Colombia. That team, they show up at the race. They got 5-6 guys that got the freedom to go for a win at any race. They don't show up at any race where they got the hands-down favorite to win unless it's a field sprint, and then it's obvious. There's not much chance of winning a field sprint for 99% of the guys on that team anyway. So they're not giving up anything. But when you're with Astana and you got to show up at Pays Vasco 100% on form to help Alberto win, and then you got to show up at the Giro at 100% form, and then you throw in the multiple crashes I had, it gets difficult that when they literally when they throw you the keys, you're out of gas.
Right.
Thanks, I'll valet park it for you. So you're not getting to the summit.